Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 220 of our trip around the United States. We have had our time of rest. Between nearly a week spent in Las Vegas and about a week spent in the Yuma area, we are rested, recuperated, and ready to hit the road again. Right now, we are in front of Big Laguna Lake in Cleveland National Forest, just a few feet from the oldest geocache in California, Phil's Memorial. For our route today, coming out of Yuma, we have over 350 miles to cover. We started well before sunrise outside of Yuma, just inside the border of California, and made our way west along the I-8 until we got here into the Cleveland National Forest. From here, we're going to continue heading west until we hit San Diego, and from there we're going to turn north and go all the way up to LAX. We don't need any of the counties or any of the pages anywhere near here in Southern California. We have been in and out of this area on numerous occasions. So this is really just a go-between day to get us from Yuma up to Los Angeles. We had a lot of virtuals on our list on the route, dotted all the way up to LAX. We're cutting all of those. The goal here is to make it to LAX as quickly as possible today, because our friend Memom, who you may remember from traveling around New York with us, is flying in, and she's going to be joining us here in California for the next 2 weeks. I am very excited about this, and those virtuals we have on the agenda, those mean nothing beside getting Memom in the car with us and back onto the adventure. The only two geocaches that we are targeting at all today is the oldest geocache here in the state of California, for obvious reasons, and the County Challenge Final on our way up toward LA, again, for obvious reasons. Beside that, we're going to be moving straight up there to get her, and we expect it to be a driving day. Hopefully we will get her before the sun goes down, and we'll be able to cache a little bit in Los Angeles before our plans for tomorrow. I can't wait to show you this trail system out here in the Cleveland National Forest, and I can't wait to see what else the day has in store once we get our friend Memom. So let's go out and check it out together. Come on, let's go.
Only about 60 miles from the Pacific Ocean, you will find the Cleveland National Forest, 460,000 acres of mountains stretching between three ranges, the Santa Ana, the Palomar, and the Laguna. Created in 1908 by President Theodore Roosevelt, this extensive forest was named after former President Grover Cleveland. You could spend a great many days enjoying this national forest, camping, picnicking, hiking, exploring on horseback, running on trails, mountain biking, and taking the scenic drives. Despite how many times I've crisscrossed the I-8 back and forth through California, I've never made it into this national forest until now. I was happy to discover that after just a few scenic miles along Sunrise Highway, we were able to find parking for a trail leading out to Phil's Memorial. It is about 1.5 miles at a slight uphill climb to make your way there. It is a very scenic trail featuring several ponds and of course Big Laguna Lake right when you get near Phil's Memorial. Aichan was up and ready to go after so much time spent in the car this morning and happily sniffed her way behind me. Since the elevation gain up to Phil's Memorial was subtle, she didn't even hesitate when we started out on the trail. Having the trails all to ourselves, I was able to let her roam at her own pace, lingering to enjoy the smells when she needed to, and pacing herself to catch up when she fell too far behind. There were plenty of potential scents to catch out here as well. Perhaps a little whiff of a predator like a mountain lion or a bobcat, or the sly scent of a fox or ring-tailed cat, and even potential prey like opossums, weasels, or jackrabbits. No matter the aroma that caught her attention, putting her nose to the ground and getting in the full smell would energize her completely, lightening her paws and sending her sailing down the trail. With Aichan and I moving up the trail in a steady rhythm together, it seemed like no time at all before we reached our final destination. But of course, much like the rest of Cleveland National Forest, this trail features a lot of geocaches, so we did not have to take it all at once, but instead were able to make plenty of finds along the way. Having finally risen out of the deserts, we were no longer looking for suspicious piles of rocks. But we did still find ourselves searching for suspicious piles of something or another's. The finds we made along this trail would be the bulk of the finds we made for the entire day, so we were in no particular hurry to skip any of the ones we were already right next to along the way. And that turned out to be a very good thing because we found several good geocaches while we were out here. There are so many different kinds of containers and hide styles in this game, but nothing to me quite beats the feel of popping open an ammo can. I am convinced it's something that just will not get old. Especially when that geocache is one of the few remaining state's oldest that you have not yet stamped your name onto. A 1.5 mile hike up is a small price to pay to enjoy a trail and come make a very rewarding find to finish off our day before meeting up with our friend.
It feels like it has been a lifetime since we found the state's oldest cache. So to come out here and track down GC5B, Phil's Memorial Cache in Southern California, in ground we've covered many times and never made it out here before, this feels phenomenal. So glad to finally be able to add my name to this logbook. Yes!
As is pretty much always the case, Ai-chan made great speed coming back down the trail compared to our route out, which is saying quite a bit today because she was hiking her way in at a very good clip. This meant that taking the trail back down to parking was quicker than ever for the two of us. Taking on this hike just after sunrise proved to be the best plan of all, because I got Ai-chan with a full burst of energy before we were ready to settle in for a long drive for the day. And having driven through the rocky, mountainous roads between San Diego and the desert beyond, it was such a surprise to me to be able to find the Cleveland National Forest just waiting for us to come out here and explore it. Knowing how many geocaches are out here and knowing how many great potential trails we can come find, this is another pin that I put on my map. And I hope, at least with the state oldest, it's a pin that you'll put on your map as well.
We did it! We picked up Memom from the airport and we still have a couple hours left available to geocache. So we've made our way just south of Los Angeles and now we're heading into Long Beach because tomorrow we've got big plans. What do you think our week has in store for us?
Well, I know it's not the oldest because you got that this morning.
I did get that this morning, you're not wrong.
But we're going on a ferry out to Catalina Island, right?
That'll be our whole day tomorrow, and with a little luck, it'll be drier than it is right now, but the forecast does not sound like that's gonna be the case. We can go geocaching, rain or shine?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, we're gonna do this thing.
Memom joined Ai-chan and I with still a few hours left of daylight to spare. Since we had already scrapped our original target list to get to LAX as fast as possible, we had to decide what we were going to do next. We decided to stage ourselves as closely as possible to where we needed to be to start the day tomorrow near Long Beach. This brought us through several earth caches and a virtual leading from downtown Long Beach up through Signal Hill. Those listings, in turn, led us to discover a series of very interesting playgrounds. Each one featured some sort of bust or statue and a playground that was themed appropriately. Del Val Park, also known as Airplane Park, for example, is situated right next door to a Douglas F-3D Skynight jet. Imagining this jet soaring overhead would only feed the fuel of the child's imagination. Having lived its former life as a Marine Corps fighter jet from the Korean conflict and arriving painted jet black in 1959 from its night fighter role, this former leatherneck aircraft and the accompanying Veterans Memorial were all the motivation I needed to push through the weather and continue geocaching our way up towards Signal Hill. Despite being surrounded completely by the city of Long Beach, Signal Hill itself remains unincorporated. The reasoning behind this oddity can trace its origins all the way back to the discovery of oil on the hill in June of 1921. When oil was struck, the pressure was so great that the gusher rose 114 feet into the air. In practically no time at all, Signal Hill was covered in oil derricks, earning its nickname Porcupine Hill. In an effort to avoid potential annexation by Long Beach with its zoning restrictions and per-barrel oil tax, Signal Hill was incorporated as its own entity on April 2nd of 1924. And we can't say we didn't learn something today.
All right, that is it for our day. It was, as I thought, a very short day in terms of targets. We started out our morning just on the interior border of California across from Yuma, and we had to make our way all the way west on the I-8 across the mountains into San Diego. Of course, once we were there, we stopped to do Phil's Memorial Cache, the oldest geocache in the state of California. And if I would have me mom out there with me, because I know she won that geocache as well. But it was not going to work on our timeline. It took most of the rest of the morning and into the early afternoon until we were able to get to LAX and pick up our friend, and we are very excited to be able to geocache with her through California for the next week and some change. I think we're gonna have a great time out here.
We are gonna have a great time.
Hopefully it will dry out a little bit for us tomorrow, because it has not stopped raining since even before I picked her up today, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop tonight. But one way or the other, we will be doing Catalina Island tomorrow, and I think it's gonna be a good time. Hopefully it'll be a good dry time. Thank you guys for joining us as we make our way north into California. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.